Hey everyone, welcome back to Glass Seats. This is Viddy.
And my name is Mrinal, and yes, truly, welcome back to Glass Seats.
We're back, baby.
We said we would go through the summer. That was a lie.
Yeah. Things got busy.
Life.
Not much happened during the off season, but a lot happened in August. A lot of things did pick back up.
Yep. So we are back 1 week out from the preseason.
Yeah.
Actually, by the time you're listening to this, preseason would have started.
Yeah.
So excited to get back in here. This episode, or this week, in all of our episodes, we're going to be covering stuff you would have missed during the off season to get you ready for the next season. And then from next week on, we'll start our season previews. And then the season's underway.
Yeah, we'll be back pretty much weekly, 2 to 3 episodes a week, something like that. And hockey seasons are around the corner, and we'll be right there with them.
Yep. Hope you're excited, because we're excited. Let's get started.
Yeah.
This episode, we were covering signings that you might have missed coming into the start of training camp here. Training camp's kicking off around the league this week.
Yeah.
So we have 3 teams to talk about. We got Pittsburgh, we got Edmonton, we got Detroit, who have signed notable players.
Yeah.
Let's start out in Pittsburgh. Captain Sidney Crosby, the generational player of this generation, signs for 2 years at $8.7 million.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we all knew this, right? We all knew this was coming.
If you didn't know this, Crosby is very superstitious about the number 87. That's the number he wears. He is born on August 7th of 1987, so 8787.
Mm-hmm.
For the past, 12 to 14 years?
Yeah.
His contract has been $8.7 million.
And that's a big chunk at the time when it was 2007, 8, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But now this is just a bargain deal.
He could have easily had 10.
Yeah. I mean, so there's players like Austin Matthews who wanted 3-4 in their contract number, but it was 10 point something 3-4. I was like, they could have given him 11.87, 0.087, something like that. You know what I mean? But no, it was 8.7, just always what it's always been. And man, superstitious, same jockstrap his entire career.
Yeah. But because of that, they get the massive benefit of having Crosby at $8.7 million.
What a guy.
Is this the most selfless contract in NHL history?
It's got to be, right? The man's captained himself to 3 cups. If they have now space to put superstars on their roster. I mean, I don't see Malkin, if he does get extended to the same timeline as Crosby. I think this ends when he's 40. Assuming it's the same timeline, he's not making double digits. I have a hard time believing Malkin getting no way, right?
I mean, I don't know.
It was like a team.
I would have said the same about Crosby 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Crosby could have easily made double digits right now.
Yeah, that's true. And Ovechkin got a pretty hefty contract extension, 5-year extension too, right?
I mean, this is Pittsburgh we're talking about.
Yeah, and they owe it to these 2 players. But either way, they've got some depth to actually make a big run right now. Mm-hmm. So good for them. Good for them.
They kind of have to, right? Crosby, Malkin want one more cup.
Yeah,
it's now or never.
Yeah, exactly. So. On the flip side, not selfish or selfless contracts. Leon Draisaitl,
8 years, $14 million in Edmonton.
I get it. The man was criminally underpaid. We all thought he was overpaid when Peter Chiarelli inked that contract, 8.5.
Yeah, and then it turned out he was the best contract
German
in the league.
Gretzky, basically. And McDavid and a lot of people say, oh, he's a product of McDavid. I think that's bullshit. I think McDavid is also good because he plays with Draisaitl.
There are years Draisaitl that outscored McDavid.
Right. It's just it goes both ways. And to say 14 mil, I think is a little high. I would have maybe done 13 mil, I would say.
But I think that's the price Edmonton pays to get him for 8 years.
Yeah.
This effectively means he's an Oiler for his whole career.
Yeah, essentially. The only issue is, and he's going to be 37 as noted when this contract does expire, assuming he's not traded. But it does provide the question how much damage can they do because McDavid needs a new contract too, and he's getting what's the league max? 16?
So league max this year is 16.7. Okay. That'll go up as the cap goes up the next couple of years. But yeah, McDavid's getting, if Draisaitl's at 14.
17, right? Probably.
16 to 17? Yeah. In that range?
And so not saying that they don't deserve those contracts, but how... You got to win a cup, right? You need to build depth and...
I will say, if you're going to put this much money into 2 players, it better be McDavid and Draisaitl, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
These 2 and Nathan MacKinnon are the top 3 centers in the league?
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah, I would say so.
You have 2 of the top 3 centers in the league.
Yeah, and it's also for me, the only thing if I'm an Oilers fan, the only thing I'm worried about is you have Darnell Nurse making 9.5, which is a little bit of an anchor contract, right?
Yeah.
And you still got to re-sign Bouchard because he took a bridge deal, and he needs a payday. He did exceptionally well.
Let's say this. If you think Edmonton cannot win a cup paying Draisaitl this much, that means they have to win this year. Because Draisaitl's extension kicks in next year.
Yeah. Yeah, either they have to win this year or they have to have just some incredible youth depth kind of thing. And honestly, I think maybe a lack of depth was the reason they had to let go of or they lost out on the offer sheets to the Blues, right?
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Talk about opportunistic.
Yeah.
Like they saw the Draisaitl contract.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Edmonton's cap strapped. So we're just going to yeet these two players out of there.
Yeah.
If you missed it, Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, I believe, offer sheeted from St. Louis that they signed.
Yeah.
So they are now St. Louis Blues.
Yeah.
As compensation, the Blues send a second and third round pick in the upcoming draft to the Edmonton Oilers.
And for no other reason other than Edmonton didn't believe these players were worth that value. And
they're right.
Right,
Broberg signed for $4.5 million and Holloway for $2.2 million.
Do you remember if this was pre or post Draisaitl extension?
It was around the same time.
Okay. Got it.
But basically, while GM Stan Bowman was focusing on Draisaitl, the Blues took the opportunity to sweep these two depth players away from Edmonton.
Yeah.
And you got to think that hurts their cup chances, right?
Right, a little bit at least. Like, I mean...
Like, Broberg didn't come in until later, but when he was in was fantastic.
Yeah, but at the same time, they also got, like, what, Jeff Skinner for $3 million?
Yeah, they got Jeff Skinner.
Crazy cheap, yeah.
They got... I'm blanking on his name.
They did. They added a couple depth pieces this offseason, this July 1st, to their roster. So it's
Victor Arvidsson. They got Victor Arvidsson.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, sure, they lost Broberg and Holloway, but, you know, they got some depth pieces. So it's more about what happens in that locker room if everything gels together, I guess. So,
I mean, the defense does look suspect.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also part of the reason with that Bouchard contract. Like, you're going to need, like, that man was incredible in the playoffs. Like, and he's young. He's 24, I think. So he's due for an extension. And it's getting a little.
Bouchard, though, is RFA when he's expiring.
Right.
So they have some
some leverage, but it's just getting a little antsy right now for Edmonton. But
well, if they win this year, nobody's going to care.
Yeah, nobody's going to care. Exactly.
All right. The last team we got to talk about are the Detroit Red Wings.
D-Town.
Lucas Raymond, the forward, signs for 8 years at $8.075 million. And Moritz Seider signs for 4 years at $8.55 million. So Detroit has now got their core locked up.
Yeah.
Mo Seider, Lucas Raymond, and of course Dylan Larkin making $8.7 million.
Yeah. And a lot of Red Wings fans were worried about this. Like, granted, it was RFAs, but, you know, you always worry in these types of situations. But I think these are decent deals. I think these are decent deals right now, at least. So.
Do you believe in the Yzer plan again?
A lot of people were shitting on it. I never doubted it, honestly, because there was a lot of head scratching going on in Tampa too, and then all of a sudden nobody cared, right? I mean, granted, you know, Brisbane took over that team, but
it was Yzerman's team.
I have a hard time believing he built. Yeah, Yzerman built that team. He inherited that team. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and call Brisbane like the trust fund kid who inherited everything, but he inherited a lot of it. Like, it's hard to like discredit Yzerman for that. So,
and just looking, I have the Detroit forward core pulled up here. These are the top 7 paid forwards on Detroit. Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat, Andrew Kopp, JT Compher, Vladimir Tarasenko, Patrick Kane.
Yeah, pretty good.
Sounds like a great forward core.
I was like, if between the, we've always talked about Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit, which one's going to make the playoffs first? I want to say Detroit. I mean, they were inches away from the playoffs, right? If Philly didn't blow that empty net.
Yeah,
to Washington.
They were close.
So, they were close. And so
goaltending looks pretty solid. They got a 3 tandem of Ville Husso, Cam Talbot, and Alex Lyon.
Yeah,
that looks not bad.
Yeah,
and defense is suspect. Behind Mo Seider, it's rough.
Yeah,
but
right now the goal is playoffs, right?
Yeah, if we're just making playoffs, then
it's not bad. Yeah.
You know, it'll be tough to, I think, make some damage with that decor. But how much cap space? Oh, they have no cap space.
Yeah, it's like, what, $100,000?
Yeah, so if they want to be cup contending in 3-4 years, something's going to break on the defensive end.
Yeah.
But address that problem when you get to it. Right?
Yeah, essentially, yes. But
Patrick Kane is going to retire at some point. That'll give you $4 million to work with.
You were also saying this Mo Seider contract should age beautifully for him.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So Mo Seider's 23 right now. Mm-hmm. When this expires, he'll be 26, 27, and he'll be UFA.
Yeah.
So he's going to be signing a fat contract right at his prime, which is exactly what Draisaitl did this year. Draisaitl signed at 28.
Yeah.
So he should have a fat payday.
Is this considered a bridge deal or not? No,
yeah, this is a bridge deal, right? 4 years straight to UFA?
I guess, yeah. I mean, usually bridge is like 2, 3, something like that. Yeah. Anywhere from 1 to 3, I feel like. But
I think that it's bridge because it's one contract that gets you from RFA to UFA. That's how I define bridge. I don't say by number of years.
Got it. Okay.
So if it's getting you to UFA, then I say it's a bridge deal.
So even like the Matthews 5-year one was not a bridge deal necessarily.
I think they bought I would say kind of. It's on the edge, right?
On the cusp, okay.
Because they bought 2 years of UFA for Matthews?
Something like that, yeah. Not that it matters. He's captain now. But,
yeah.
But yeah, things looking up in Detroit. I think there's a lot to look forward to on the horizon. Obviously, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you got your guy back. He's probably going to retire in Pittsburgh. And Edmonton is truly in win now mode. So
yeah, you have to be. You got to Game 7 of the Cup final.
Yeah, like you were 2 goals away from a cup. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting time across all 3 of these teams. None of these seem necessarily horrendous signings, and it's gonna be an interesting start to the season.
Absolutely. Let us know your thoughts on these signings below. If you want more Glass Seats, we're also on Instagram at Glass Seats Show is the handle. We have 3 episodes out every week, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.